welcome to the 1 in 20 show, where we're looking to find the next 1 in 20 successful individuals who are pursuing their passions so that you can too. And today we're joined by Sean Valentine. Sean Valentine is a radio host from Los Angeles, California. He is the host of the ever-popular Valentine in the Morning on 104.3 MYfm, which is recorded at iHeartRadio. He has dialogued with some of the biggest artists and musicians in the world and continues to be a headliner for listeners everywhere. He is a major arts advocate and is always looking to help others achieve their dreams. Welcome to the show in your own studio.
I know, right? The show is being done in my studio. I love this.
We came to you and we're sitting in this cool room.
That's full service though, right?
Yeah.
You come to me. That's very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, very cool. It's very cool. Well, thanks for having us in here.
No worries.
I kind of wanted to start by throwing you kind of a softball.
Yeah. Wait, are there hard balls coming?
Maybe.
Oh
I don't
my
know.
gosh.
We'll see. You'll be able to determine. What got you into radio? Because it's kind of a profession that I've been thinking about for something for myself as well, and something that's not as common for a lot of people to want to go and pursue and host. So how did you get into that whole thing?
Well, the idea that you're thinking about it for yourself and doing a podcast is probably really good, because podcasting, it's kind of become in our industry, I don't want to say the future, but it's an entry into our industry that wasn't available to kids 10, 15 years ago. So you can do a podcast and, train your vocalisms, learn how to do interviews and everything. Yeah. And then some of those podcasts are actually making it on the air on terrestrial radio stations like MyFM and different stuff. Like Anna Ferris has a podcast that we run as an actual show. So she does a podcast, then we take it and we run it on the radio and send it out.
Yeah.
So for me, none of that was available when I got in. I was going to St. Bernard's High School in Uncasville, Connecticut, and they had an internship program, and they would place you with job endeavors that you were into. And so I was thinking, what do I want to do? I'd love to be a Boston Red Sox pitcher, I'd love to be a police officer. I'd love to be a fighter pilot. And I'm listing off all this stuff at 15 years of age to my teacher, and she says, yeah. And I go, or a disc jockey. Oh, wait, we have a radio station down the street. You can go there on the weekends. And so I went to this radio station and started helping out on the weekends. And probably about 16 or so, because it's a small town, they go, hey, we've got this part-time opening if you want that. And so I started working for them on weekends. And I think my first time on the air, I probably was about 16 years of age. And it was a Saturday night, and it's horrible. The audio is just... It's like a 16-year-old boy that just bumped into the prettiest girl on the planet and doesn't know what to say. Hi, everybody. Hello. It's really bad.
That's funny.
But so I remember the next day, though, going to church, and we're sitting in the parking lot playing the cassette tape. Have you seen those before?
Yeah. Okay. I mean...
Playing the cassette tape, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing a cassette in the car of me on the radio, and it was hilarious, but it was so cool.
Yeah.
So I kept doing that, and long story short... I did it all through high school, working on the weekends and everything. Then I went to the University of Connecticut, did a semester there for music education, thought I was going to become a music teacher. And I left UConn and went back home and became a police officer. So I did that for a couple of years, being a police officer, went through the academy, the whole thing. But I kept doing radio always on the side, and then radio started paying more, and no one would shoot at you. And I was like, well, this is a pretty good gig. So then it became much like a show that, I don't know if you know it, but it's called WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Where then I was just traveling town to town, up and down the dial, all through my youth until, now 50 in Los Angeles. So
that's amazing.
Up and down.
Yeah, pretty amazing. It's such a cool medium to be a part of, because this show kind of spans all of the arts. So we've kind of talked to actors and filmmakers and all that. And it's really interesting to see this medium thrive, especially now. And maybe you can speak to that, because podcasting is so accessible to so many now. And I mean, literally you throw up your stream to a pod that somebody can listen to.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you can find that audience. It has changed so much in that respect, I guess. But the amazing thing about just using your voice that I still love, and I was never going to be a movie star or anything like that. I don't know much about film producing or anything, so I can't speak to it intelligently. But what I love about radio is the ability to use your voice, to capture somebody's attention, to tell a story, from the pauses to your pacing, to the excitement, to whatever it is. It's very much like stage work if you're doing the theater. And so I love that. And I can remember as a kid laying in bed, listening to, Johnny London or Tom Timmons or all these old names from radio stations of the past, and hearing them tell a story. Or when the Red Sox, because I grew up in Connecticut, when my favorite team, the Red Sox, were playing on the West Coast, that game time would be 10:35 at night on the East Coast. And so mom and dad said, go to bed. And I'm there at the transistor radio underneath the covers, really listening to these Red Sox announcers call the game.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with radio because my imagination has to come alive because these guys are, they're painting a picture with their words. And then in your mind, you're seeing it. And I hope to an extent we still do that when I do the show today.
Right. Right. That's really neat. Yeah. Something that's kind of cool that I remember actually now is like when I first started driving I had a Honda CR-V when I was 16.
Right.
And I was driving around and in it, we didn't have I don't think it had I think it may have had a tape deck aux or whatever, but it didn't work very well. So I would always listen to I actually listened to this show, which is really cool. So I have memory of you, your voice and talking. And I just thought it was really kind of interesting and really cool that you could be able to, you can communicate with somebody and grab their attention while they can't even see your face.
Right.
It's it's so interesting to me.
Well, it's funny because radio, it does hopefully have that ability to grab somebody's attention. And there's so many stories, and we're blessed in this situation where we hear from, moms and dads and kids that go, man, I listened to you all through high school. We played the Battle of the Sexes, with your show. We do it in the car and we play along the way to school and stuff. Or the mom that says, hey, I've got a boy and a girl and we listen to Battle of Sexes and they want to hear it before they get out of the car.
Right.
And the girl gets mad when the boys win and the boy gets mad when the girl wins. And stuff. And you just don't realize, because, a TV show, you tape a TV show, they put it together, they put it up. It's not in the moment, generally, unless you're doing live TV or something. So you're not really affecting people, but we have the ability with radio to affect people in traffic in their car to hopefully make them have a better day. And at the same time, I've got all these phone lines where people can call in, interact, and with social media, they can interact right away. And we have screens here, they're not turned on now, but the screens will show all the texts that come in too. So we're very much a live medium, which is different than TV, where you can interact immediately with people and, gauge their understanding of a certain topic or what they want to talk about or how their day is going.
Yeah, that's really neat. What to you makes a good interviewer? Because there's so many people that really try it. And what we mentioned, podcasting now gives people an opportunity to do it if they don't really have any history in doing it. So what is it that really makes a good interviewer to you?
It's interesting. It's a good question. And it's something that I work on all the time. And I was actually listening to tape of our show before you came in today and finding plenty of things wrong with my delivery, wrong with my questions, wrong with my pacing. And I've been doing radio since I was 16. I'm 50 years old. So you'd think I'd have it down by now based on the old, hey, dude, something for 10,000 hours, you'll be a pro. So you think I'd have it down, but it's the idea that you're always learning. And there's a thirst for knowledge. And when you're interviewing somebody, you should have a thirst for knowledge with them. And sometimes we want to fill pauses too. And so we jump on the person, we talk over them and stuff. That's something I'm always working on because you get excited and you want to say something. So what we'll do sometimes is just take a breath. And Ed Sheeran fills in the blank, or Lady Gaga in that chair fills in the blank or something. So listening to what people are saying, not worrying about your next question is one of the old interview hacks that they'll always tell you about. But I think it's really trying to find the passion point for the person. Because I don't know much about your family background, brothers, sisters, whatever, but there's something in your life that you love talking about. So if I'm interviewing you, I want to find out what that is because your face will change. If we're watching on camera somebody's face during an interview, when they find, if I start about my 11-year-old son, if I'm talking about him, my face is going to change because I love this kid and I'm so proud of him. And that's what you want to find in the person you're interviewing. If you get that, you're going to get a great interview.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that whole speaking over someone out of excitement and all that stuff, that's something that's really difficult to how do you control yourself in that environment when that's really interesting. What is it that really makes an interesting person? Because when you're talking to somebody and you're talking to me, you're talking to a lot of different people that are kind of all over the spectrum, a lot of different celebs and musicians and what is it that really sets somebody apart for you, when you interview them?
I think you have to go into it thinking that everybody is an interesting person. Because if there was a screenplay about everybody's life, there would be something in their life that stands
totally.
out. So every person has an interesting story to tell, whether they're a celebrity or not. You just have to break through that barrier because some people are shy and don't want to talk about something. Sometimes it's you haven't asked the right question to tee them up or something. I think interesting people are the ones that are willing to give, to open up, to share about their lives. Because you'll get plenty of artists that come in and go, well, I've got the album coming out and it's going to be out on the 13th and I hope you like it. It worked with a lot of people. Great.
Yeah, right.
That's great. And you can get that in any interview in the entire world.
Yeah, the publicist like shoved it down their throat.
Yeah, it's the same thing, right? So you want to get past that and find something more. So the interesting person is a person that's willing to open up to you. Yeah.
That's kind of what birthed like this show for me, was that I started realizing that I had a lot of friends that had a lot of interest in the arts, that I was interested in each of their stories. And then, that kind of pushed me to try to start getting more names or like more people who are experienced to speak to that advice niche. Like, how do you get into what you want to do? How do you push for that? And the arts are kind of one of those things that's kind of just up in the air. So like, how do you give the right advice to somebody to get into something like this? It's really interesting.
Yeah, I guess, when you look at all the STEM programs, now they're adding arts back in. I forget what the acronym is now when you add the arts back in. Maybe it's STEAM. I guess just put something the A in there.
Yeah.
STEM and shove the A in. It's STEAM. I don't know.
Yeah.
So the arts are so important. My kid's 11 and he's big into sports and everything and stuff. The other day, though, he said he wanted to be an actor, just out of the blue. Like, well, you better get cracking.
Go now.
You're 11, and every other Disney star is out there working at it, so if that's your craft, go for it.
Yeah.
But, I look back at my experience in school, and I was in marching band, and I played music, and I played jazz sax. And so for each kid, it's different, but the arts are such a calling for a lot of kids nowadays that may not want to be an engineer, may not want to do the science-based activities. And they find a chance to express themselves in the arts, whether it's on stage, behind a microphone, or in the arts encompasses so many different things. It's not just being in front of the mic, but behind the mic, being editors, producers, having a vision that you can show the world. So I love any chance to talk about the arts and give kids a chance at that opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really, really cool. And that's there's a lot of people who I know, like I have a lot of passionate friends who push really, really hard to get their name out there.
Yeah.
And something that's kind of interesting, you touched on it earlier, this whole social media gang.
Right.
That's like, that's a whole thing that you have to now think about and a whole new audience that you have to serve.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends get turned off, like my filmmaking friends that do stuff are now kind of turned off to do the things that they want to do because they think, well, I don't really have an audience that'll listen or, I'm pushing so hard. Is it really worth it? And, do you think you have to come to points like that when you're in the arts to like jump back at it again? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough.
The social world is, I know more than the average 50-year-old bear is going to know.
Right. Because you have to, right? For the show.
Right. Yeah.
For the show.
Because of what I do, I have to know it, but I don't love it per se. But it's a great way to connect with people. And I think the main thing, like for your filmmaker friends, the main thing I would say is be authentic with your voice when you're on social media. Because if you're faking it, people will figure it out. And then, they check the timeline. And 2 weeks ago, you said this. Now you're saying that. Whatever. Be authentic, be real, and not be obsessed with, and this is very hard, not be obsessed with your follower count for Twitter, for Instagram, for YouTube, whatever, but for the interaction, the engagement. Because for so many advertisers that will eventually support those producers and their films they're doing, or anybody that's looking to grow that revenue model for it, the authenticity is important, but the engagement level is there too. You could have 500,000 followers, but if you get 27 likes on a photo, you're not engaging people. So, and there's so many different tools out there that advertisers will use to check your engagement level to see if it's legit.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing because I think all of us, we go to put a photo up, especially just normal people. You go to put a photo up on Instagram and you look at it, and in this selfie world where everybody uses Facetune and everything else to make them look pretty, you're like, I don't know about this one. Now let me go with the one with the bunny ears.
Yeah.
Now I look good. Everyone's going to love that.
Sure.
There's so many photos I've gone to press send and go, forget it.
Yeah.
And I don't do it.
Yeah.
So you have to engage. It's another way to connect with people. It's another way to build an audience for your podcast, for your show, for your movies, for your scripts, whatever you're working on. I don't know what's next. Facebook is still pretty popular, but for older folks, I think, not for your generation.
Not so much for us. No.
You're probably still Instagramming, I assume.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you're into Twitter anymore. So I honestly don't
it's
know
pretty
what's
negative
next,
now, too.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing too.
Yeah.
A lot of these networks become negative due to politics and things like that. So it's a tough thing, but you have to do it because that's where they're also looking for the next superstar. I mean, you've seen plenty of YouTube stars, you know, go on to become certain things and stuff. So these advertisers, producers, networks, CEOs, whatever, they're always looking at that breakout person who's got the, you know, 1 million+ followers or whatever. But if nobody's engaging with them, what does it really matter? It's just a number.
Right. That's really interesting. It's tough because you look at somebody like that, and I think now, like, their whole career is set if they have, you know, 7 digits or whatever.
If they do it right.
Right. If they do it right. Because they're getting paid, you know, X amount of dollars for that.
Post.
And like Kim K or something recently had, you know, a post that was worth like $1 million or 500,000 just to do one thing.
One post.
Advertisers
Well, that's always going to be the outlier,
crazy.
but you're going to find somebody that, you know, Kardashians are going to get tons of money. They're set beyond belief.
Right.
But yeah, it's a thing now where you see so many bloggers, so many influencers making money off this. I don't know if that bubble will burst at some point. It could almost be like a .com bubble of influencers and they go right back down. But you're also finding a lot more of the micro influencers. So people that don't have the massive following, but the engagement is there. And so for the advertiser, they look at the engagement level and go, all right, I'm not going to hit 500,000, but the 25,000 people I do hit, you know, they have a lot of those folks that really engage and talk and will look at my product and give it a chance. And so they're finding more micro influencers, I think, now than the big. I mean, Kim K is always going to get it.
Right.
Than the big influencers.
Right. Right. Well, let's go back to talking a little bit about your show that you host, Valentine in the Morning, and just 104.3 as well. I wanted to kind of ask you a little bit about the importance of music, the importance of, we've kind of talked about how important it is to, you know, what our auditory you know, feeling in our brain does to connect us to people and whatnot.
The authentic voice you have and everything.
But since your show is so tied in with music, what's the importance of music to just people? Why do people want to listen to it?
Well, it's a soundtrack to our lives. It's, you know, when you hear a certain song, it takes you to a certain place. And there's always songs for everybody. And I don't want to date myself too much, but there's always a song that keys a memory for you. And for some reason, it's a Dan Fogelberg song, Auld Lang Syne. He goes, and the snow, it turned to rain. And I always picture that in my youth in Connecticut when you'd have those sleet days where the snow turned to rain.
I don't know what that is.
I know, you have no idea. Like, he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about here. But there's certain, you know, there's certain songs that bring you to certain places, you know? And there's certain songs like Supermarket Flowers from Ed Sheeran is about the passing of his mom. And so when my dad passed and I heard that song takes on so much different meaning to me than it might be for the average person scanning through Ed Sheeran's album. So the connection you can provide with popular music, obviously we play the popular music, because if we just played what I want to play or just play what Kevin or Joe want to play, you know, it's going to be for a niche audience and it's not going to work for them. So we have to play more popular music that fits everybody because you want to bring as many people to the party as you can.
Yeah.
It's so important, I think. It gives you a respite from conversation as well because sometimes you just want to hear music. And if you want to hear a total talk show, you'll go find that anyway. But in today's society, from politics to, you know, whatever it is that people are arguing about in life, music, if you pick the right songs, can give you, you know, just a moment of rest from everything else. And because we embrace the music and we love the music that we play, it connects more listeners, I think.
And it is like a connecting, you kind of hinted at it. I think it does. It's the one thing that somebody could listen to that doesn't, you know, discriminate. It doesn't really, like,
anybody can enjoy it. It's there for you. If you want that song, you want to enjoy it, it's yours. It might have a certain message you disagree with or agree with, but that song can be yours to listen to. And just trying to imagine a world where you turn the music off. My God, what is that? I mean, that answers the question. Nobody wants that. You know, you want to hear something that drives you. How many people can't work out or can't do any form of exercise without earbuds in and listening to music? I've tried to go running without music. I can't do it.
Oh, it's horrible. Yeah.
Not that I run a lot anyway.
Right. It's already almost unbearable.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Why would you go without anything? Yeah. But yeah, that's really cool. It's really interesting because your show is like so based around the music, obviously, and the music of the voice as well. Like, and getting to talk to all these people. I mean, you've talked to John Mayer and Ed Sheeran and all these amazing people. people that a lot of people look up to.
Sure.
Does that do you see like a little bit of influence in that you're able to speak to names that are, so noteworthy?
For the listener, the person enjoying the show, hearing their favorite star from John Mayer to Ed Sheeran, whoever, they look at them wrongly, rightly so. You can argue that a different day.
Sure.
People look at celebrities sometimes, as a guide in their life in certain respects, to give them advice in certain respects via music or their postings on social networks and everything. And some celebrities enjoy that. Some don't enjoy that. I think a chance to pull back the curtain, going back to like interviewing and stuff, on any celebrity for someone listening to the show is cool. When you can find out something that you didn't know about them, or you can hear a different side of them, when they're relaxed and just having a conversation. I think that's pretty awesome. We're lucky because, it's LA. So we're going to get more celebrities than if I was doing this show in Rochester, New York or something. Right. So we're lucky by where we are and what station we are and what company we are. You never take it for granted, but it is fun to have them come in and sit down and, share a bit of their life, That's really cool. You mentioned kind of pulling the curtain on kind of interviewing deeper. And that's something that I love to do too, because how many times have we seen the same interview with the same celeb done probably 50 times, right? In their press life. Yep. But it is important to know more about people, who they are and their importance, right? I think so. It's so interesting to me. It's tough because the attention span of all of us can be kind of hard,
Right.
When you look at your phone and you've got an appointment, you've got this, you've got that, or you get a brand new game. My wife keeps playing Two Dots. She's obsessed with something called Two Dots now. It's a pretty cool game, but she's much better than me. And so, the attention span, you have to hold it and keep it for people, and that can be kind of hard sometimes. And that's why you get shorter interviews, because we realize people have, a smaller attention span than a goldfish or something. It's just not necessarily there. And the competition is everywhere, from TV to other radio shows to the iPhone to instantaneous satisfaction. Anywhere you look, it seems like, there's always something pulling your attention away. In the old days, I just had to worry about the kid in the back seat going, Mom, hold on, Johnny, hang on. They turn the radio down and talk to the kid. It's not that anymore. It's so many different things pulling your attention away that, yes, doing the deep, long form interview is awesome, and really sitting down with somebody and getting deep into what their thoughts are is awesome. You don't always have that chance. So sometimes you have to grab it in the short form and take what you can get. But it is nice to have a conversation with somebody when it's really just a conversation, and you're chatting with a friend. That's what you want to get to, from podcasting to the radio show. That's the best.
Right. Yeah, that's really neat. It's sad to me a little bit that we do have such short attention spans, and that we're kind of losing sight of some things that are important, because there's a lot of things, like even just morals and ethics, that are kind of gone
by the wayside, just disappearing.
Completely gone.
And you're starting to sound like the old man, get off my lawn here now. Like, hey, get off my lawn, kids nowadays. Like, how old are you?
I'm only 21.
Like 21. So. I know, you're like, get off my lawn, kid.
But figuring it out, it's tough.
But this is your generation. This is your chance to change that in the go forward, to bring ethics back, to bring morals back, to bring whatever it is that your generation wants back, and to say no to, I just got an update, I got to check this.
Right.
That's your world if you want it.
Yeah. It's tough, because that's kind of the angle that I want to go at with this show that I've been doing, is different, more intentional, and not to say that others aren't. It's just, I know a lot of my generation is choosing to do stuff that is like, kind of just, the crashing cars and like the craziness. That is popular. That's what sells. But does it really sell in the long run? I feel like it just is eventually going to fizzle out when you realize.
Time will tell. You'll find out if it'll sell in the long run. But I know what you mean. It's like, here's my 7-second clip of, me crashing the car into the whatever or something. And that whole Jackass thing, that was, a while back.
Right. That was their own thing.
People went through that. Yeah. There's still plenty of goofiness out there, and the shock. But the shock thing is, I always wonder, and I was never like one to watch these Saw movies or anything like that. So I'm not into crazy, scary movies or anything, but it seems like you have to do so much more to shock people now, and the meter's moving more to a certain side. And so, that's the scary part about the internet. And it's, it's a crazy world that we live in. And I think some people just want to hunker down inside their house sometime and not go out to the crazy world. But yet here it is. Here's the crazy world. You can see it
It's literally
anywhere
in your hand.
and see what's out there at any point.
Yeah.
So hopefully you go down that path where it's not all about the shock and the craziness and everything else. And there's deeper conversations. And, I always look at like politics that I feel, there's plenty of people, different opinions and stuff. But within that disparity of opinion, I'm just always at a loss. And this is me being, I guess, maybe not realistic. I don't know. But as a parent of an 11-year-old, I want my kid to have a better life than me. Yeah. I want my kid to grow up healthy, have a roof over his head and food on the table and all that stuff. And I told him a hot shower is pretty important. Have all those things. And I think every parent wants that. Right. So if you can start from a point of connection for a lot of people, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. Totally. Well, let's kind of bring it to a landing. I mean, it's already close to 30 minutes, which is crazy.
It is. You only has like 5 questions. See, I talk too much. That's the problem. You picked a radio guy.
I mean, hey, I'm trying to be better at not talking over.
Oh my God. No, you did fine.
So it's funny you brought that up. But do you have any briefly any future plans that you're thinking with the show, with kind of what you want to do? Or? Yeah,
I mean, the show is a living entity.
Sure.
And we're all such good friends. I mean, Jill, who sits to where you are, your left-hand side, Jill's been with me in radio since she was probably 17.
Wow.
She's 35 now.
Amazing.
She started as a phone op and then helped me over to KISS. So she helped me at KISS. Then came with me to 98.7 for a little minute. Then came on board here and eventually became a co-host on this show.
Wow.
Kevin, who sits over there, Kevin, he joined us probably 5-6 years ago, fit in right away. Jimmy, who sits over that way, Jimmy's a Vietnam vet who's been with me, since I got here in LA, probably, which was 1996.
Wow.
So it's a lot of long-term people.
Long-term, for sure.
There's always change, and we realize that. People come, people go and stuff, and people grow and move on to other things. But the show itself is just, it's always, hopefully, the growth in our show is more of the impact we can make. It's not where I'm going to go, I want to be syndicated on 100,000 radio stations, whatever. That's the impact we can make in our community, the impact we make in people listening. That's where I would like to grow. And then you always have the game of ratings and revenue and other things that come into play and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with what I do. I'm not trying to get out there and host a show on CNN or something or anything like that. I mean, I come to work wearing a Tom Brady shirt and I don't shave. It's a pretty good
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for having us here. Thanks for doing this. It was awesome. You can find him on social media. What's your tag? Go for Valentine.
Go for Valentine. Go the number 4 Valentine. See, I'm going to be on Dancing with the Stars one day. Go for Valentine.
That's really funny. Well, thanks for being on. Thanks for watching, guys. You can find us on social media at 1 and 20 Show. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll catch you guys soon.